Now a new exhibition that captures the beauty of the Nullarbor. Australian artist Guy Warren is one of Australia's leading experimental painters, a contemporary of Sidney Nolan and a one-time winner of the Archibald Prize. 90 years young, the prolific artist has turned his attention to the extremes of the Outback. Claire Nichols has the story.
I've always been involved, particularly in rainforest landscape, which has always fascinated me ever since I was a young man. So going across the Nullarbor is rather different. It's not exactly rainforest, is it? But it's a different kind of landscape with its own presence, its own qualities, its own magic. The space, of course, is quite incredible, and it varies according to the light of the day, from early morning to late evening. It varies enormously, and it's just a magical place.
The magic of the Nullarbor put on canvas. This exhibition by acclaimed Australian painter Guy Warren was inspired by a visit to Perth 2 years ago.
Instead of flying back, I decided to go by train. I've always wanted to go across the Nullarbor, never had. I'd like to drive across, but I think, in fact, going by train might even be better because you go right through the middle of it. And I found it absolutely fascinating. It wasn't at all boring. I drew the whole time out the window of the train.
The result is almost 30 pieces of art, landscape paintings often haunted by strange figures.
I would prefer to make some comment about the people who are in or who have passed through that particular landscape. And somehow, as we pass through, we all leave our faint shadows, our echoes behind us. And maybe it's a dumb idea, but that's what I'd like to do. I started doing this, and suddenly I realised that in fact what I was doing was probably recreating that image of me and my wife and our reflection in the window of the train looking into the landscape, but by doing so also becoming part of the landscape. So they're not realist images of us, they're echoes, shadows of us.
Guy Warren has been described as Australia's most shamefully underrated artist. A contemporary of Fred Williams, Albert Tucker and Sidney Nolan, his art hangs in every state gallery around the country. During a long career, he's won the Archibald and painted the portraits for the $2, $10 and $20 notes. But it's the environment and people's place in it that's been his main inspiration.
In the 1950s, I was living in London and painting my memories of New Guinea. And it was there that I was fascinated by the way the peoples of New Guinea painted themselves, decorated themselves, until they became part of the landscape, because the landscape is incredibly rich and textured. And I thought what a wonderful metaphor it is for the idea of being part of the landscape.
He says that theme has persisted through more than 60 years of painting.
They may look different, but the concept, the idea, the essence of it is the same.
This year, Guy Warren celebrated his 90th birthday, but there's been no inclination to put down the paintbrush.
What else would I do? There are paintings still to be made, things I still want to do, ideas I still have. No, you can't stop. I mean, artists don't retire. They do what they do because that's what they want to do. And I guess, I don't know, poets must be the same, writers must be the same. You don't do it to make a living, although you hope you may. You do it because it's essential, because it's part of your being. stop for a meal and a glass of whiskey now and then. You've got to stop sometimes. Oh, you keep on painting, of course you do. Life would be pretty dull without something like that.
Claire Nichols.